The feast day of Saint Efficio is a celebration of his main miracle in the 17th century when he banished the plague from Sardinia. It's also a glimpse of the past when each village, defined by its customs and its costumes, was dominated by huge, tightly knit families, generation after generation. Families that were exuberant, extended, and these days, all but extinct. Here's the new reality. In an empty delivery room at the Villa Elena Clinic, the midwife, Giulia Tessio, tells me the number of babies she's delivered annually has dropped by 70%.
Babies like tiny Reuben here are increasingly rare in Italy. In fact, the official figures show that in 2014, there were fewer babies born in this country than at any time since 1861.
40 years.
You're 40 years old? Reuben's besotted mom is Sabrina Fenu. A social worker, she had to work full-time until she was 40 to afford a home and a future for her son.
Perché si cerca di avere una stabilità economica.
Italian women now wait, she tells me, until we're financially stable. And then we have just one child. We'd like to have more, but the conditions just aren't good enough. Of course, in the old days, before birth control, conditions weren't that good either. Women often had to bring up lots of children with little money.
We closed the house.
But Francesca Zanoni, who helped organize the parade, says modern expectations have risen.
Nowadays, people, they don't want to raise their child in poverty. They want a good level, a good standard of life for their kids.
That's true across most of the developed world. The birth rate in North America, Russia, and Europe is already below the replacement rate of about 2 children per couple. And in Italy, a quarter of all women have no children at all. That's partly the fault of a system that gives women no support, says Professor Elizabeth Addis, an expert in demographics and social policy.
So it's a birthday party? Yes. Auguri, happy birthday.
More than 50% of Italian women work outside the home. And yet there is no affordable daycare here, no school meals, and no after-school programs.
And in Italy, this virtuous process of building public services to hire women and to substitute for women's traditional work didn't happen.
So women are kind of trapped. A lot of Italian women are trapped.
Right. They will be trapped in a dependent situation in which they can only be housewives. And they don't want to be housewives because they want to be free.
Elizabeth's own teenage daughter, Catherine, is still living at home. But she's heading off to college soon with plans for a career and a life that doesn't include children.
There's always a dual obligation of women, both towards their family and their job, and it has always been and will always be a hard balance. And I honestly don't want that.
In a quiet valley near the historic town of Iglesias, Luciano and Adriana Otelli live in what was once a thriving mining region. But the industry has all gone now, along with the big families who used to make a living from it. The photos in Luciano and Adriana's albums trace the collapse of Italy's birth rate. Adriana points to her grandparents' family.
Mia nonna si è sposata che aveva 17 anni.
My grandmother got married when she was 17, she says, and I think of her 10 children, 7 are still alive in this picture.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Luciano was one of 6. All of them are here in the summer of 1957 with their dad. Adriana and Luciano ended up having 2 kids. She was a teacher who wanted to keep working.
Allora, avendo avuto un figlio maschio.
So I had a boy and a girl, she says, and I was satisfied with that. As for the next generation, here it is. One little boy called Stefano. He lives downstairs with Luciano and Adriana's son-in-law and their daughter, Maria Rita.
Would you have liked, ideally, to have had a bigger family?
Not a big.
Big?
2 or 3 and stop.
Right.
But at age 43, with work scarce in Italy's stalled economy, she's accepted that Stefano will be an only child. Part of a whole generation of young Italians whose taxes, when they join the workforce, will have to pay not only for their parents' retirement, but probably their grandparents too. It's a crunch that threatens everyone's standard of living. Reversing the trend will depend partly on a better economy and more help for working mothers. And controversially, it also means welcoming more foreign migrants, including those smuggled into Italian waters every day, and who will join Italy's immigrant community with its economic ambitions and higher birth rate. Conservatives fear those changes will dilute the traditions of a great culture. But the alternative is a weakened Italy out of step with the modern world.